All right, we are live. How are you, Chantel? Welcome everyone to Entrepreneurial Life with Chantel and Empress.
Hey, y'all. Happy
Oh,
Friday.
I know we have a whole new date. Maybe new time. No, we could keep 9:30. That 9:30 is good. But yes, we are here tonight. And how are you doing, Chantel?
I'm doing fine. I just had a very busy few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of stuff going on, good things, but other than that, I'm good. Might need a nap, but I'm all right.
No, I feel you
How
on
about
that.
you?
It's been a very productive week. Most definitely tired. However, I mean, what's new, right? That's
Hmm.
nothing new. That's a part of the hustle and entrepreneurial life.
Oh
So
yeah.
you're going to be tired at times, which is okay. It's absolutely okay. And I just want to do a check-in. Are you seeing us online on the L spot?
No, I was actually looking again and I didn't see.
Okay, it may be a little
That's what I'm over here
delayed
doing.
because I am checking myself.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Because I know the last time it took a little while
When it
for it to
comes up, I'll
show up.
just click on it on my end. I hope you all had a wonderful week, the last week of February, heading into
It
March.
is. It is the last week of February. I cannot believe that.
I'm glad that the weather cleared up because we had a bunch of snow back to back.
No, that's
Who
true.
you come chiming in? You just come out of
Hi.
nowhere. I know, right?
Yes. I had to, with me moving in a new space, I had to get a shovel. And that is something that's completely brand new to my world. Because in the city, they pretty much clean everything up for you, and your
The
car just smells.
luxuries
At
of
least
living
that's my
in
experience.
the luxury of living in the cities.
Right. So it was very interesting of me having to do that. All right. So for
Right.
those who are looking on Instagram, may see all of this extra stuff, but it is okay. We're gonna figure that out. Let's see if we're live on
Oh,
Instagram yet.
I still don't see anything on my end. Up, there we go. Yeah, we're live on
Awesome. I
IG.
see
I
it
see it
now
now.
too. See if we're live on
Oh,
Instagram yet.
I still
Awesome.
don't.
Look at us. We both inside Instagram. Um, but yeah, what is tonight's topic?
So tonight's topic is about pivoting and how that's basically our new norm. Gone are the days of not having to pivot so often.
That's that is so true. And you know what? That probably should have been in our lifestyle before. Um,
Yeah, I agree
I,
with
I
that.
I think that we are either trained or believed that we needed to have some type of consistency in that way of not knowing how to move. So it's like this is what I do and I'm only going to do that and that's that. But with times like this that we're in as far as in a pandemic, we learned that we cannot always stick to what we know. We have to learn, we have to transform ourselves, we have to um, increase our knowledge so that we can be able to move with the current because we if we didn't move the way that we did this past year, we would have been left behind. We probably wouldn't have been
Oh
progressing the way that
yeah.
we are, and we would be probably so lost and confused of what to do next.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I also think that prior to the pandemic, that you I could say for myself, I did do some form of pivoting because I was always adjusting things in my life, especially when it came to like, different jobs or adding on a skill. Um, but I didn't really look at that as it being something that I wasn't aware that that's what that was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't to the extent of how we're doing it now.
Right. Right. And just to add on to that, I actually enjoy pivoting.
Yeah.
It's a little scary sometimes, but I actually enjoy doing it because it pushes me to learn something new.
Mhm.
It pushes me to just be able to make myself a little bit more exclusive. That's what I'm noticing with pivoting, as especially as an entrepreneur. I've been
Yeah.
able to um, I've been able to learn new things that allows me to add a new service or to add new knowledge to whatever it is I'm offering, because if we continue to live in the same space that we're in, we're not going to be ahead of the game. We're not going to be ahead of the industry. We're not going to
Mhm.
be the leaders of our industry that we're in. So with that, we always have to learn new things, new tricks, so that it could keep us competitive. And I'm
Oh
really
yeah.
starting to understand the concept of um, competition, because I used to be like, I'm not in no competition with nobody, but it's not necessarily that. It's just being able to stay ahead of what's going on, what's trending, what people are liking, why are they gravitating to that competitor than yours, or what is that competitor missing that you can bring value to your own business so that you can have people come to you instead of them. So it's getting me to look at pivoting has been getting me to look at things a lot differently.
Right. And you always want to be getting better at what you do, you know?
Hmm.
It's like a constant state of uncomfortability.
It is, because it's just like starting all over again, um,
um
to a degree.
yeah, I can agree with that to a certain extent. Because of the factor of like learning new things. So yeah, you are kind of starting over in that sense, but not like entirely. Just with
Yeah,
the add-ons or with whatever change you have to adapt to.
absolutely. Like I was thinking about, school started again. Um,
How's
New
that
things.
going?
School is so amazing. I would go to school for fun. Like, and I say that in the sense of I am enjoying all the new things that I'm learning, but I think it's also because it's been a while of me learning something new, especially in my industry. I think
Mhm.
I got very do I want to say complacent in what it is that I was doing in the past, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing this whole area in my business that is actually very beneficial and necessary. And then I get to learn the fundamentals and all the different tools that are out there, because like most of your professors are those that are actually working in the industry right now. So
Mhm.
you're not getting outdated information, you're getting real time information. So, and then it also gets you thinking of what new things that you can create as well. So that's what I enjoy about school. And that's how I'm feeling about this semester, because all the new things that I'm learning, I'm actually applying it to my business now. And I'm
Mhm.
seeing how it's very beneficial for my clients and for myself.
Right. Hold on. Ooh. Yes, yes, yes. I forgot. I was gonna say something. I forgot.
It's okay. It's
Brain
okay.
fart. Okay. So I would say like my experience too now with pivoting. which I wasn't paying attention to before.
Mhm.
I've always been someone who like loves to learn about new things. Like I'll just be at home like reading a book about something, reading about a different religion or anything like that, just because I just like to learn about different things. But now with having to pivot so often, I'm more intentional about the things that I'm learning versus before when I was just dibbling dabbling in everything and really not committing to anything. I wouldn't say all the time, but some of the time not committing to things that was, you know, aiding in my career and my development. But now I'm like extremely intentional about those things.
Mhm.
So yes, yes. All right. So we
So
got
what
Courtney
are
Starks in here. What's up, Courtney Starks? Eyes of Art, Hamo. How you doing?
what are some things that you don't like about pivoting?
Hmm. There's nothing I don't like about it. um, I don't.
Or if anything, then what is it that you would advise people to do when it's time to pivot into something new? Like how do you even know when it's time to pivot?
I would say just being aware, like being aware of the goals that you have set and just um, looking at how things are working for you or not working for you and then just making that decision if you need to take another course, if you need to add something, if you need to do something a little bit different. So it's really just being aware of what you're doing and measuring your growth and looking at like what's working and what's not working for you.
Mhm. Um I would say that when the environment changes, when yeah, when the environment changes and it becomes where what you normally would do doesn't work anymore, that's when you know that you need to pivot. Because that's my experience with pivoting of me adding new things onto my plate, and then I'm trying to do the same exact routine and it
Right.
doesn't work. I have to readjust myself. I have to realign myself to where I can actually execute all these different tasks or whatever it is that I'm doing efficiently, but I have to pivot. I have to change what was norm. And I think that's where pivoting is becoming the new norm because we're constantly in a mode of having to change the way that we do things, having to change the way that we think about things,
Mm-hmm.
having to change our behavior in order for us to reach to our next level. And that's something that I'm realizing about pivoting of how important that is. So like right now I'm pivoting all over again of just like really seeing all it is that I'm doing, what it is that want to accomplish and making sure that I get that done. Um so those are I have to pivot. I'm not the same person that I was last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like when the pandemic started, I was one way of being, but now that way of being doesn't work for who I am today in 2021. And pivoting can happen daily. Um,
Yeah.
like today, I had to pivot so many times today. I'm like, okay, this is happening. Like it was just today was a very interesting day
Yeah.
of just
I'm
how
I'm laughing because I'm like, wait till you add some kids in the mix. Your whole life.
you know I
I'll
I
share a story when you're done.
I commend you guys as parents who have to pivot all the time, especially with your kids. And it's just so interesting of just how even for today of things just kept changing. Like I had everything set up, planned, but the thing is I still executed,
Right.
but it was either a delay or I had to do it a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So those things are, you know, when you have to pivot because of what's happening in your environment, what's in the current. So I think it's very important for us as entrepreneurs to be okay with that, because sometimes, you know, we'll say like we miss the old way. We want to go
Right.
back to what we were doing before, but we also have to remember what our goals are, and that person who you were before is not going to get to where you want to be.
Exactly. You might, it's like when you want to get to the next level, you got to be that person for the next level.
Right,
And you have to stay open to the idea that things will change and things might change a bit more rapidly than you would want them to.
right.
And I also look at, you know, the pandemic and how like um some of the vendors that I worked with prior, you know, in fashion, that once things started to open back up, they didn't open back up because they didn't set up their online shops. They didn't make sure
Mm,
that they converted their customers to online. And if they didn't have a nest egg, you know, a savings or anything, shop is closed, you
right,
know? So I like what you said too, that um you have to be ready to just not I can't say it like verbatim because it's losing is going away, but basically saying that, you know, you have to be ready to pivot when it's time to pivot.
mm-hmm,
And I know like in the fashion industry, when we do our collections, we do our collections months, even a year ahead of time, whenever planning and you're researching a year ahead, you're researching 6 months ahead. So you're like foreshadowing or like seeing like what the future could be like based off of what you've been researching. And it's like
mm-hmm,
that type of that type of, you know, behavior or habit has to be that's something that we all kind of have to do now. Like you
yeah,
really have to just really pay attention to what's going on around you. You really have to kind of look ahead so that you're not changing in that moment. Like you're kind of prepared for when the change is about to happen, and then you can take those necessary steps so that you can stay on top of, you know, everything that's going on. But the story I'm
right.
about to share, oh my goodness, yesterday I spent my morning and afternoon not doing what I had planned to do. That was that was a major pivot from like 4 in the morning to about like 3 in the afternoon, cleaning up vomit because my little munchkin caught a stomach flu.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had a paper to write. I had like a bunch of coursework to do. I had a gown that I needed to alter, and it just did not happen.
Oh
But you
no.
know, I didn't freak out because I'm like, it comes with the territory. Like I've been a mom for
Mhm,
6 years now, so it's like when I try to plan things with an extra day or an extra few hours ahead, it doesn't always work out that way, but for the most part, I try to make sure that I plan things out that way just in case. So
mhm,
it's like, okay, if I need to get up extra early the next day or stay up a little bit later, or I because I set it up on this day, I have an extra day, you know?
right.
So yeah, it wasn't fun cleaning vomit out the carpet and off your bed. It was
Aw,
yeah, but she's
Shannon.
fine. She was by like the nighttime, she was back to herself, jumping
Good,
around, being wild. But
good.
yeah, so that was you mompreneurs and dadpreneurs out there. You know, I feel you. I feel you. I'm with you. We stand together. So yeah,
No,
I just wanted
I'm
to share that.
happy.
That's how 2020 had us. Like,
I'm
but yeah,
happy that she's well though. And I
thank
mean,
you.
that
Thank
happens.
you.
It's like, what are you gonna do when things just pop up
Yeah.
and it's an emergency? Um, and that's just all a part of pivoting. Is
Hmm.
it's all a part of pivoting in your life. of when you're unsure. It's like you kind of got to leave a little room for uncertainty,
Exactly.
and being okay with things switching and changing. Um, and I think that's how you master life. Now that I'm thinking about
Yes.
it, that's how you master life
I agree with
because
that 1,000%.
you
Gotta be
life
flexible.
life just is amazing, right? Because there's so many things, so many emotions, ups and downs. It's just so much that happens in life, and with that, we have to be able to adjust. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to move forward powerfully and not let that ruin our day, ruin our mood. Um, I think
Mm-hmm.
that once you allow pivoting, and I know we're using this word a lot because that's tonight's topic, but once you allow the unknown to occur, it's like you're aligning yourself, because everything that we ever have to pivot in life, it was like an alignment. Like it actually put
Mm-hmm.
things in order, even though it seemed like it was taking it out of order. And we just have to trust the universe to put us back in alignment if we need to, you know? And
Right.
I think that once you're able to accept change, once you're able to accept transformation, then you can most definitely live powerfully, because nothing can get to you. Nothing can stop you from achieving anything that's happening. And that's something that I'm learning from myself, is that, you know, what happened to me last year is not going to happen to me this year. And I have to be okay with that. I have to not expect for things to be the same way as it once was. And even in, you know, if we take it to friendships, if we take it to partnerships, whatever that is for us, we have to be okay with those changes.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
we don't know, just for me to take it spiritual, we don't know what God has planned for us, for
Mm-hmm.
why these things pop up, because sometimes it may be preventing us from doing something. It may
Yeah.
be preventing us from going through a certain experience. So I think that it's important for us to really learn how to be okay with those changes in our lives. And that's how it's going to get us to our next level, our next step. And it's really just a way of being. Pivoting is a way of being. That is our norm. That is actually how we're supposed to be living life. We're supposed to be able to go with the flow.
I was just thinking that. I was like, it's insane that we're conditioned to think that things stay the same, that, relationships stay the same, that you stay in one job for 50 years and retire. It's like that conditioning is so dangerous because nature doesn't even stay the same. So it's
Right,
like, why are we taught that, things are meant to stay the same or that this is normal? I feel like
right.
there's no such thing as normalcy. And, you know, um, at the end of the day, you have to really do what's working for you with your life and your path, and really just scratch out of your mind the idea now of having a norm or having
Mhm.
something that's just going to stay the way that it is or go back to the way that it was, because it's not. Like, that
Right,
doesn't exist. It never existed. It's a
right,
concept. It's a concept that some people live by. They like things this way, they do this same thing every day, they do that every day. I'm like, the weather is not even the same every single day. Yeah, we just really have to get comfortable with understanding that there is no norm, that things will change, and they have been, and we have just been made more aware of how rapidly
mhm.
things change all the time. And
You know,
and now we're just adjusting ourselves to go with
right.
that flow and be like water with what we're doing and how we're living our lives.
Right. You know what I was thinking about just now of when I used to work at like
Hmm.
retail stores, and there was always times where we had to pivot. Like we either had slow days, fast days. We
Yeah.
had not fast days, busy days. We had random tasks that needed to be done and achieved by a certain time. We had pop up visitors. It's like it was just so many different variables that would just pop up. But you know, that used to
Hmm.
excite me. Like I used to love when the lines were long as a cashier because it made it so fun
Was
and exciting
yeah.
because we would like compete with each other. So like myself and the other cashiers will be like, who's gonna get the line down, you know, faster. And it just kind of pushes you to that next level where when it's a slow day, you may take your time more. But like now you start learning new techniques of how to actually bag the products a little faster, actually ring out the customers accurately. Like it's just something about when something unexpected comes up that it gets your brain going, it gets you so active. And I think that as entrepreneurs, especially with, you know, either we just starting our business or we're in a certain point in our business, to be okay with like just moving and just making
Running on
things
that
happen.
running on that
And
treadmill.
it's so exciting. Like, if have you ever had a moment in like that in your business where you had to do something for a client that was so last minute, and then all of a sudden, like you had to get into go mode, whatever mode that was for
All the
you.
time.
Right.
I'd be like, I'm planning, I'm getting some more product ready for the boutique. And then I get a call and somebody wants a whole wardrobe and they want to start next week. And I'm right in
Mhm.
the middle, like not even finished with what I'm doing, you know. So it's like, okay, now I gotta switch gears and fit, make this fit into my schedule and what I'm doing. Or someone hits me up like right after that and they want something for their birthday. When's your birthday? In 3 weeks, really? But I can make it happen. So bam, another thing is thrown in the mix. So yeah, that's kind of the tone how things have been lately. Because prior to that, I was just working my job and my family, and I didn't have a boutique. It was
Right.
that and my private clients. So adding that into the mix, it kind of like it's always putting me in that space. So now I keep myself open to understanding that, you know, um, this is going to happen and this is part of the success of your business. And you know what? When you were talking, it made me think about how many times people have turned business away because they thought that they couldn't handle the business because the business came in at a time when they had a couple of other things going on, and it's like all you
Yes.
had to do was move a couple of things around and like kind of rework your schedule and you could have made it work, but you didn't. So you kind of like self-sabotage yourself a bit. I know we all have done it at least once. I've done it. I know y'all done it, so don't try to act like y'all haven't done it. But
Yes.
even thinking about that, and it's like having that mindset back then, you weren't aware of how much pivoting it for your success. Like you have to be open to being able to change something, adjust something in the blink of an eye. And also understanding that it's not going to always be like that. There's going to be times where you
Mhm.
really need to just be still. But it's all
Right.
a matter of just paying attention to when it's time to pivot and when it's time to be still, you know?
Right. And
Have you
that's
done
so
that before?
true.
Like, have you
I've done
ever?
that plenty of times where I wouldn't take a client because I felt like I just had too much, right? Quote unquote too much on my
Mhm.
plate. And it's interesting that you said that because recently I just put something new in place in my business so that I don't feel that way, but still also be able to take on clients. Um, so just it's like another form of pivoting of just figuring out new ways of where you can still take the client, and also not feeling that you have to do it right away depending on the client's needs, you know. um, but I most definitely have done that so many times, and there's times where I'm like, dag, I should have taken that client, because whatever
Yeah.
I felt that I may have been too busy with doing it, either ended early, or I didn't need to do it anymore, or whatever it was. And it's like, dag, I could have taken it. So I would say, like, to, if you can, like, if your schedule is most definitely workable for where you can move things around, go ahead and do it. But if you do know that you're super packed, I wouldn't recommend trying to add a new client. What I would say is to expand your team. I would
Yep.
say that, like, so that you don't lose the business, but you can have someone else to take the lead on taking care of that client. So don't be
Mhm.
afraid to expand your team so that your business doesn't stop because you're overwhelmed. So that's something that I'm learning too. That's why I'm able to grow my business the way that I did this past year, because I grew my team. So I was able to take on more
Mhm.
clients, and majority of the work wasn't on me, because if all the things that my team had did for this year, this past year, and I had to do that by myself, I don't know how I would be. I really don't. I wouldn't have a life. I wouldn't even be able to breathe. With all the things that they do. And sometimes I have to reflect and just be so thankful that they did, come in at the time that they did, and skilled in what they're skilled, and just also understanding the importance of building your team. That now I'm looking for new team members. Like, while I'm in school, I'm scouting students. I was like, okay, so what's your goal? What is it that you
That's the
want to
place to
achieve?
do
Right?
it.
I'm like, I'm asking them questions. I'm like,
That's what
what are
school is
you
for.
skilled at? I'm loving that all my classes are group projects. So I'm getting to see like how people work in groups. And there's this one class that my group is really good. Like, they're beasts. Like, they're a beast with getting things done. They make me look lazy. Like, they're a beast. But I love the dynamic of us three, because we still are able to get things done. And like, for our last project, we got a complete grade. So I'm like,
Yay, that's awesome.
yeah, so like now I'm just looking at those things now. Before, when I was in school, I wasn't looking at who can I hire, who can I bring. Oh no, matter of fact, let me stop. Let me not say that. That's how Camille came on. As far as with the L spot, let me not say that. I did do that, but I wasn't looking in the way that I'm looking now.
Right.
Right.
And
And I think that's
I think that's something that people should be taught in general when it comes to schooling. You know, you're not just there to get a piece of paper. You know, you want to look at who you want to connect to that's going to help you land that position or build that business that you want to build. And I just want to say I love your hair.
oh
Like
yes,
I'm like
yes,
staring
yes,
at it. I'm like, it looks so cute. I love that red.
yes. Real quick shout out Chic and Savvy. She did this. This is a custom
Yes.
wig. Nobody else will have this color.
I'm seeing
Um,
her next week. Yes, I'm about to get chic and savvy hair now. Yeah, but that's a it's such an important mindset to have. Also, you know, for those of you who didn't go to school and you went straight into entrepreneurship, but you worked jobs. The same with jobs. Like I would like the last jobs I worked, I said the job is my school and the people that
mhm.
works there, like I'm connecting with them. You know, I'm learning things that I could use for my business. I'm connecting with people that I could possibly work with or partner with on some things when it comes to business. So you have to look at everything around you, even more so now than ever, as, you know, an opportunity to talk about your business, to talk about what you do, to connect with someone. You know, I was in Macy's the other day and I got a compliment on something I had on, and I just went in talking about what I do and all that stuff. And then it turns out that this person needed a service that I provided through
Yes.
conversation. So it's like you just never know when. Like networking events. I wouldn't say it's completely a thing of the past, but it's like you don't need to wait for that. You have to
Mhm.
really look at everything around you and just use it as a tool to, you know, learn from it, to advance yourself and to help advance other people as well, you know.
Right. Absolutely. And I just want to acknowledge those that are watching us on Facebook. We actually had like about 5 people that came in here. And I also want to acknowledge those that are on Instagram too. I know we haven't checked and we were just in our conversation today. Um, but if you're still watching, most definitely just, state your name, what it is that you do, so that we can shout you out on here. And we're
Yes.
we're just truly thankful for you all to be watching.
And also, don't forget to network with each other. That's what these platforms are for. We're here to support one another. We're here to help, uplift each other. So, on top of sharing what you do, make those connections with each other as well. You know,
Right.
we're a
Jamia
community.
Jamia on Facebook, she said word of mouth and networking is important.
Oh, very important. That's something that I don't think is ever going to go away.
Right. And thinking about it, I know we're probably not going to get to it tonight, but Clubhouse is like the new networking events, right?
Hmm.
Where everyone is on there just networking, chatting, sharing their expertise. I'm not going to lie,
Yes.
I haven't been on there for like maybe a couple of weeks now. I think maybe 2 weeks now, only because it does take up your day.
Yeah.
It's either you listen to it in the background or you actually participate and engage. But I'll get so caught up and just be in there for so long. Like I'll never forget. I spent my whole entire day like back to back on Clubhouse listening or
Binging. It
participating.
must have some
So
good stuff.
and you know what? It do be some good stuff. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me take a break. But I kind of do want to get back into it, see what's happening, network with some people because I've had the opportunity, the times that we're on, had the opportunity to speak with people that
Yeah.
I've been wanting to speak with for, a while and just to find out what
Hmm.
they're up to. So it's most definitely like the new space of networking and meeting people, especially while we're in this pandemic, which there is a second wave that's here. It's not even coming; it's here, and we just really have to be safe and protect ourselves and our children, our families, um, and we're going to have to pivot again, right? And no, it seems like everything is looking good, like we're all back outside. Like I'm not gonna lie, I love being outside right now. So like I find every reason to go food shopping or
Same.
something that I need to go pick up, but we we are in a different time, and I think it's actually in our benefit, honestly, because there everything the playing field is even, right?
Oh yeah.
Even now, we're
Oh
all
yeah.
celebrities, got to communicate with us the same way. We got to communicate with each other the same way. There is no hierarchy right now. So I think that this past year we all as a whole world or country, but it is a global pandemic. We did have to find new ways to create, find new ways to still provide service, find new ways to communicate with each other where we're not face to face. So that's where you have your Zoom calls. Because like Zoom been around for a long time, but
Hmm.
we were like, oh, let's just meet in person. Like we don't
Right.
gotta be
It
virtual.
was only used if you just couldn't meet that person in person or you had a mass group of people in different. I know when I was in insurance, it was no way you were getting all of those people from different states in one room. So we definitely used Zoom. But yeah, now it's like everything is on Zoom. School is
Right.
on Zoom for the kids,
Right.
virtual learning.
Right. And that's even just so interesting too, of just how there was someone that was saying that their kid was falling asleep in their Zoom class. Now, and they were saying that Zoom is making them tired. And it made me laugh because I'm just like, I remember being in school or even just
Right?
hearing
I fell
kids
asleep.
now saying school makes me tired.
I'm like, your kid was falling asleep in class. You just didn't know about it. Okay. That
Right?
ain't new.
So it's just so interesting that, you
I'm
know, these
guilty
things
of
are
that.
happening in these conversations, and um it's
Hmm.
just it's like we're still able to do the same things but just in a different way. So like for instance for us, we probably would meet in person to do this, right? We would probably have like a full
Hmm.
production at the studio, doing this show, but now it allows us to be in the comfort of our homes. So like right after we do this, we're going to bed. We don't gotta leave,
Not me.
you know, drive all these hours to get
Yeah.
back home. Because I know after we finish these lives, I'm like knocked out. So it's just interesting the dynamic. Like I even caught myself in a meeting where, you know, they make fun of like how you don't wear all your clothes in the
Oh,
meetings.
people ain't got
Like,
no pants on.
right, like I caught
Don't
myself
stand
doing
up.
that. I was like, oh, this is how it works. Because I would get fully dressed, and then I'm like, well, they only sing up here. So I'll just wear
But you
some
know what?
shorts.
I would say for me, most days I still get fully dressed, do my hair and everything because I've noticed that on the days that I don't, my mood is so crappy, you
Hmm.
know, and my me being productive is, you know, it kind of messes with my productivity too. So I make sure that I get up, you know, I get out of I change my clothes, I put on some real clothes, I do my hair a bit, maybe throw on some makeup or something before I start my day because it just I don't know, for me, it just staying in the, you know, clothes like sweatpants and a t-shirt or anything like that, it makes me feel like, oh, like I don't know. It puts
No,
me
that's true.
it puts me in a mood. So I feel like, you know, for some people they kind of need that, like even though if you're working from home still, getting up and actually getting dressed. It's just that now it's not something like you have to do, but
Hmm.
for me it's something I need to do because it really aids in my mood, it really aids in me being productive or not. And yeah, I guess it's a psychological thing.
I mean, it is,
You
right?
know?
Because,
Yeah.
you know, when we change our hairstyles, the way certain
Mhm.
outfits, we just start having a whole certain vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so I most definitely am with you on that. Like sometimes, like I really do enjoy us going live because it gives me a reason to put on makeup and to put my hair on.
Right.
Because nobody sees
Yes.
that any other day. I'm just not, you know, dressed up at all. No makeup, no hair. Which I actually do want to start implementing of, you know, not necessarily daily, but more often because I'm working back on creating more content.
Mhm.
So just being able to do that, the only part I dread sometimes is just like, oh, I gotta wash my face, wash my makeup off. That's the only part that where it makes me like not want to put on makeup. But for the most part, I do love being glammed up. I love, you know, the experience because, like you said, it does create a mood and create a vibe,
Yeah,
and it does
yes, definitely
increase your
creates a vibe.
productivity too.
Yeah, man. And you know, I can say for me too, like even before the pandemic happened, like I was working all those jobs, I was always like in and out on the go. So even like the just the being home so much, like oh my goodness, it got to me. I really had to like change my whole perspective with that and understand that this is the time to do this, this is the time to do that, or to be still, or to learn something else. Um, but yeah, the whole getting dressed thing for me is something I definitely need to do.
Yeah.
So
And you know, thinking about us just having to pivot, like now I have a fitness trainer and my body is like getting to the shape that I want it to be. And we're doing it virtual,
mhm.
right? Because I'm like, I'm thinking that maybe if we had to meet in person, which I do meet with her twice a week in person, as a group, but I, I'm thinking about if we had to do it the normal way, I probably wouldn't have been consistent the way I am. Because it's
Right.
like, I gotta get up, I gotta meet, I gotta like do all this other stuff. Where I could just literally pop out of bed, do my workout, and then go on with my day, without having to travel anywhere. Same thing for
Right. It's more
school.
convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, for school, I don't have to do the whole same process, getting ready, and then having to travel to school. Like if I was doing that now and then living in Jersey and then going to school all the way in Brooklyn or Manhattan because it has two locations, like that would have been a lot because I would have to look for parking. I have to consider time of making sure I get there on time.
Hmm.
Like I'm at every single class. There's no excuse.
For the
Um,
school part, I like.
right, right.
Yes.
So it's
Open
like
up that
being able
laptop.
to
Yeah.
exactly right there. I don't even and what's great about my professors, at least the ones I have this semester, they're not requiring you to have your camera on. So like there's one class where there'll be like nobody with their cameras on. You just see the teacher. But is the it gives us that luxury to where we can listen, we can still get other things done, or we're still paying attention but not having to get dressed up. It's just
Right.
being able to go with the flow. And that is what's very important as far as pivoting in our lives. Like I know the topic
Mm.
was pivoting as an entrepreneur, but I think it's just really our lives as a whole and just being able to go with that flow and not
Yes.
feeling any type of way if something is out
Like
of
water.
order.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And I'm thankful. I'm like pivot is I think that's the 2020 word, 2020 word, um, of where we really all had to do that. And I want to encourage everyone, whoever is watching this, to make that a part of your lifestyle. Like, don't get upset when things change. To go with it, see what new you can create, right? Because that's what with pivoting, you got to create. You got to be like,
Oh
okay, this
yeah.
happened. What is it that I'm going to create in this moment so that I can still get this goal accomplished?
Got to be
So
resourceful.
right. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. It could be stressful. And let me not act like it don't be
But
stressful.
those people that don't do good with change, I'm sure it's not fun for them. It's like those people that just don't like change.
Hmm.
I can imagine that they're having not having the easiest time with the climate of things now, having to pivot so often.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just make it fun, make it exciting, make it like a new challenge. And especially
Yeah.
because like for us, we don't have anyone on top of us to say, make sure you do
Mm-mm.
this, make sure you do that, right? It's pretty
Nope.
much our clients that's doing that for us, right?
Hmm.
And we
And the
really
bill
don't
collectors. No,
know
I'm just like
we really don't know like if we're doing well or not, if like what type of feedback or anything like that. But when you able to make a move when something uncertain shows up and be successful at it, I think that's a great accomplishment.
I feel like from like observation of people that are really successful, I believe that that's how they live their lives. Like they're always ready to just okay, let's rework this if we need to. Like I think one of the one of the most powerful like mindsets that you can have when it comes to pivoting is not emotionally attaching yourself to the space that you're in or that thing that you're working on or that thing that you're doing and how it's going,
Hmm.
because it's like then when it changes it's like everything's crumbling down and it's not. you
Yeah.
know you just gotta pivot.
Yeah, that's true. So I want to so Jamia, she said, this is from Facebook. She said, "Yes, the pandemic definitely made me make better choices with saving and pushed me to go back to school and actually stick with it. It also helped me to evaluate my business."
Hmm.
That's good. That's really good, Jamia. I mean, it is like this time allow us to really look at ourselves differently because like now we're stuck in the house. It's like what
Yeah.
is there to do? There's nothing. There's no running around.
Yes.
Like before, it's like, oh, I don't got time because I gotta go do this. I gotta go do that. Now you have time to reevaluate yourself because I think like that's what we did 2020. We like,
Oh
okay, we
yeah.
did that. We're gonna do like I bought a piano. I started just buying like a whole bunch of stuff because I'm like, I don't know how my business is gonna be, and I don't know if it's gonna be like busy or if it's gonna be dry. And I was just like, I need to keep myself busy because I can't be in the house and not have anything to do. So if I'm gonna do something, let me create music or let me create poetry or let me create like visuals because I also did like a dance visual video. I forgot I did that.
Hmm.
So like I just started to go into creation mode when the pandemic started, and now I mean I'm so happy because my business actually grew where I actually ended up not doing so much creation in that end. But now I'm in a new season where it's time for creation mode again. Like I'm excited to get all these new things going with us doing this live and other shows that are in the making. Um, and just really looking at how can I do this differently. And that's what I think a lot of people was able to do. And then a lot of people just had to be a yes. They had to just take action, right? There was no thinking thoroughly. It was just like I got to survive.
Yeah,
I
that was
got
me.
to right,
Like I finally got an industrial machine. Before I had about three different machines and a serger, which I still have my serger because you need a serger. But I went and I spent the money and got an industrial machine. I went and I just, you know, um I didn't even waste time. The first week I changed what I was doing and started making those masks instead of making clothes. I wasn't going to see no private clients for months and
right.
people needed masks. So yeah, it
So
was it was like
are you
survival
still
mode. Let's go.
making masks
Yeah,
now,
yes
or
I am. I'm
but
still
you're
making,
also,
huh?
but your boutique is also booming too.
Yes. It's doing pretty good. And with the mask, now it's more like I'm doing them for like I still do them for individuals, but I do them for like restaurants now,
Mm-hmm.
doctors' offices. Like I really built up a nice clientele through over the pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm working with like water companies and um a taxi service, you know, and doing it that way. So yeah, I'm
So
still doing masks and
imagine,
face shields too. You
right.
know, they like the
So,
ones that I sell to them, so they're buying the face shields. So yeah.
so imagine if you were like, I only make, custom clothes. So
Oh,
I'm just
I
gonna have
wouldn't
to
have
wait it out.
survived because my
Right.
the job I was working in the dental field and the school with kids. Most of the schools are still not back inside the school, let alone letting a mobile dental company come and set up people's mouths open, all the contamination inside the school. That that cut completely. And then I was doing insurance where I was out in the field and I'm going to people's homes and I have my kid home now. So that stopped too. So if I didn't allow myself to be flexible, if I didn't allow myself to immediately pivot with what was going on, then I definitely would have not made any money and I would have really been struggling
Mhm.
um during the pandemic. But because I immediately, saw the change and took action, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to struggle and I had some sort of an income coming in um, during that time. So
Right.
it's important to understand that, like, when it's time to make a change, when it's time to pivot, it's something that you're not, like you said earlier, you're not thinking too much about it. Like you're on it. Like, okay, boom, this is the plan. Let's go. You
Right.
know.
Right. I mean, the same thing happened for me. Like, I was just focused on one area, but then I ended up becoming a Zoom support and then I became social media manager and website designer, even though these were things I was doing for a while, but it wasn't like as if I was providing a service for it. So
And I
like
didn't even know that you did website design until the pandemic happened.
that's crazy
I'm
because
like, you
now
mean to tell
that
me I could have called you a long time ago?
that I've actually done for a good couple. That one I actually did offer as a service, but
Yeah.
I would have it up as a service and then I'll take it down and then I'll put it back up. It was like one of those things like, do I want to do websites this year? Do I not? So I did do a lot of people's website pre-pandemic, but I didn't like really talk about it like that. I didn't really I wasn't consistent with promoting it because I was unsure if I wanted to keep doing that. But when
Right.
the pandemic happened, people were asking me like, "Hey, do you know anyone that knows how to do website?" Hey, 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 and
Oh,
I'm
that was
like,
a big
"Well,
thing, and
I
especially in the
do."
beginning.
Yeah, because now
Hmm.
they're now that they can't go in the field, they're like, "Oh, I do need a website now." Right? Like that was the conversation. Like, oh, I saw
Website, mobile app, all that.
right. Where that could have been done a long time ago, where they would have been ahead of the game and ready for the pandemic. It became where they had to now hurry up and catch up. So they're expecting you to get a website done within 24 hours.
Right.
And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone earlier where sometimes we just have to be a yes and be prepared with certain things. So things that we feel like we don't need right now, we need to do it now because that's preparing us
Yeah.
for the future. So like we always have to be ahead of what's happening in the future. We cannot look at what's happening now. We cannot look
Nope.
at what's happening in the past. We have to look
Mm-mm.
at what's going to be the next so that we're
Exactly.
already ready for it. So like with people, so I don't know if I shared this with you, for the 2016 concert fashion show that we did,
Hmm.
I wanted that to be where we live streamed it, where we didn't have any audience and we just live streamed it to the public.
Hmm.
But when I was asking, like, well, not asking, but talking to some of the performers and stuff like that, they were like, I don't think people are going to watch on live stream. I think
Well,
they
I
prefer to
mean,
come.
okay.
And look at where we at today. Everybody's live streaming everything.
Exactly.
So it's like I could have been
Or the
ahead
people
of
who
the
say,
game.
"Oh, I'm making great business. I don't need a website." Websites
Right,
have been around since what, the late 80s, early 90s?
right, forever. And
It
there's
was
a
like,
reason why it's still around. It's
but
your
that's but
portfolio.
that happens when people are content with what's working for them right now and they're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about that things will change and they are changing as we speak.
Mhm.
What are you going to do? They're just
Right,
looking at the fact that I'm comfortable, this is working for me right now, but they're not understanding that that might not work for you a year later. It might not work for you a month later. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. And the smart people prepare for those times. And, the rest of us just, we're content in whatever success we're having at the moment with whatever we're doing and how we're doing it.
right. And like now I'm a little bit more comfortable with working with new businesses. So especially like in technology, like where they're offering certain stuff, because you
Hmm.
never know when they're going to be the next big thing.
Right.
And I'm sure like if you're the first customer, first user, or first partnership, like you would be blowing up with them and you'd be also known as an innovator.
Hmm.
So like now I'm really understanding the importance of being okay with working with these new businesses because you never know that what they're offering, even with the tweaks and stuff like that, because it happens. Like if we look at how many different versions of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, like every
Clubhouse has even implemented a change recently. I went on there, I think a week ago. It didn't seem like a major change, but something changed about it. And I know on the icon, the picture that's on there has changed too.
mm-hmm.
So it's
So it's
like,
like being being okay to be with the current, moving ahead, and that's how we're going to survive because we're already ahead of the game. We're not waiting for the answers; we're creating the answers.
Exactly.
And that's where like I'm really starting to understand as a business owner of what problem are you solving,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
that is where you need to be. What or and then even
That's true.
it could be a problem that doesn't even exist yet, right? There
Mm-hmm.
could be a problem that people may not even know is a problem. And when you start looking at things that way, that's where you can become a leader or an innovator in that industry because you thought of a problem that nobody else thought of, and then you created a service that can fix that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I never looked at things that way before until the different groups I'm around, the different coaches, and we just having conversation about that of how can we stay ahead.
Right.
And that is just so important of looking at what problem you solve. So like Chantel, whatever problems you see that could potentially happen as a fashion designer, as an entrepreneur in general with all the other businesses that you have, look at what potential problem could happen
Oh,
and
there's
create a
already a potential
solution for it.
problem that needs to be solved,
Yeah,
especially with the fact that, you know, most of the shopping, clothing shopping is done online, and that's not something that's going to slow down. You know, making sure that we have, um, you know, something in place where your customers can either virtually try on clothes or virtually convert their sizes into the sizes that you have on your website. You know, that's stuff that I'm dealing with now. Like, I don't have that set up yet, but that's something that's in the works. It's in the planning to be set up by the end of this year. But,
mhm,
you know, customers reach out and they ask me about the sizing and the fitting of something. And, you know, I'm able to measure things and tell them based off their sizing. But a lot of clothing sites don't have that. They don't have anything like that set up. So you're just shopping based off of what you think is going to fit you and, you know, buying
right,
things like that. But it online clothing shopping, shoe shopping and all that stuff, it's not going to decrease. So it's going to be there's definitely a need for that now
right.
and in the future.
Absolutely. I think this was a great conversation as far as just talking
Mhm.
about pivoting and just looking at different aspects of that, right? Um, and I want to thank everyone for watching. Is there anything that you want to close out with for tonight for our
I
viewers?
I do. Viewers, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. All of our day ones, we really appreciate you. All of the new people, we appreciate you as well. You know, we wouldn't have this show without you. It would just be me and Empress on here talking to each other. So thank you. As much as we're, you know, talking about our experiences, we're always grateful to hear about your experiences as well. And we learn things from you as well. So we really appreciate that. And we thank you guys for growing with us. And also to let you all know, shannonshannon.com, my boutique online is 25% off. So if you have not, go check it out. Go shop. Things are going fast. I have limited sizes of things and colors. So if you want to shop and you want to get that 25% off, head over to the website now, shannonshannon.com. The link is in my Instagram bio, Shannon Shannon, and Shannon Shannon Boutique is in that bio as well. So take advantage of that. Subscribe for 10% off, and I'm still doing free shipping. So head over there and get you something cute. And we added sunglasses as well. So also check out the sunglasses. They're really super cute. Um, and also, I'm still doing masks for individuals and businesses. You can actually purchase masks on the site if you're looking for something to be customized, whether it's a mask or even clothing. That's something that I also do with my partner. You can check us at Wizprints. That's Wizprints on Instagram. Hit us up in the DMs if you want something custom made or custom printed for your business and to get some mask. And just thank you all. Make sure everyone's following each other that's on here, and we're following you guys back. You
Yes.
want to plug in?
And I want to give myself a shout out because I need to be my own publicist.
Yes.
Um, so yes, you can follow me at Empress Lanice, and then also you can follow my business page at ELPR Agency. You can also go to my company's website, elpragency.net. We do provide public relations services, social media management, website design, content creation. So you can go to the website, elpragency.net, and you can see all the services there, and you can book a consultation, a meeting with me, discuss your needs. So that is where you can find me, and you can follow me on my personal page. I do some other stuff as well. So I'm not going to give all of that out. As new projects come out, I will talk about it. But yeah, just follow me. And I want to say thank you again for those that are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're constantly growing and expanding ourselves. So thank you so much for being here with us and commenting with us. We love engaging with you. So meet us here every Friday at 9:30 p.m. This is our new time. It was Mondays, but now we're here every Friday at 9:30 p.m. So spend your weekend with us, and just have a conversation about entrepreneurship, our lives, what's happening, what's going. So I want to say thank you all again, and have a amazing weekend. I'll see you guys back next
Yes.
Friday.
Turn up for the weekend, but be safe with your turn up.
Yes, be
Don't
safe,
be
wear
rolling
your
around in
mask.
the air. All right.
We'll be all up on people grind.
Keep
Damn.
that 6 feet.
I got friend. I miss going to parties, but it's all
I
right.
know.
It's all right. We do our virtual ones. All right. Good night, guys. See you soon.
Bye.